Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Eytan Show.
Middays with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander.
Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
Harry, you brought this story to my attention, and I assume that's a place you'd like to begin, although we
got a lot today.
Bob from Crossing Broad joining us at 12:30. You can't hear me?
No.
I think that's your headphones.
No, it's you. The microphone was way too far away from your mouth.
Nothing has changed.
I know what the deal is. The dog licked the microphone just before the start of the show, and now you don't want it anywhere near your lips.
No.
I can't blame you, actually. I'm actually on your side here.
I keep it normally at some distance away, because vocals change no matter what show we do. But we've got a couple of things. The Phillies actually have won 2 straight games.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, wake me up when they beat somebody that matters.
Very good, because that's exactly my point, too. I'm like, this is great and all, because they're hitting the ball.
Yeah.
The balls are flying out of the yard, and Franco has, hit a couple of them, including last night. But then I sit there and I say, you know what? It's the Mets.
Yeah.
And the Mets are a more dysfunctional bunch. Find a more dysfunctional bunch in the Major League Baseball.
You
keep
can.
looking.
You can find a worse team, but
Yes.
they're not more dysfunctional.
Right. So I just sort of take this for what it is, and I'd like to see them, go beat the Braves or go. You know what I mean? Like, show me that you could go beat a good team. But a win is a win, and they need wins right now because this thing was headed in the absolute wrong direction. So a bounce-back series here, if they can find a way to win 3 of 4 or 4 of 4 somehow, would be great.
I'll tell you, I think the biggest thing that you can look at right now is momentum, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, to be fair, it doesn't matter at this point how much of a bad or dysfunctional team they beat because they've put themselves in a very unfortunate yet realistic situation, which is they can only win in order to avoid criticism. Mm-hmm. Because it's a no-win situation, really, when you win a game against the Mets. It's like, dude, you should have won that game anyway.
Well,
versus
right.
If you lose that game, it's like, all right, now we need to fire everybody.
Yeah, you don't get credit.
Exactly.
You don't get credit for wins.
It's the old Sam Bradford week 3 of the preseason.
Especially coming off getting swept by the Marlins, who are even worse. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
right.
Yeah, you're not going to get any credit. But how about this Brad Miller guy? Now, he hits a bomb last night, right?
Mr. Bamboo?
Mr. Bamboo. Now, apparently he goes out and buys this gigantic bamboo that they're put in the middle of the clubhouse now. So I guess that was in lieu of getting each and every guy their own individual bamboo. I'm assuming that he just said, you know what? I don't have room for 24 more of these in my car. Let me just get this one big one, put it in the back of my SUV, and I'll bring it and put it right in the middle of the clubhouse, and that'll suffice. I'm buying into the bamboo.
I know.
I might go get one for my house.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you, not for the house, but I wonder, because, we're on the multi-platform stream now, where you can see us on Facebook. I know you hate Facebook. We're on Facebook Live. We're on Twitter, Periscope. We're on Twitch. You can get us in so many different ways, depending on what your work allows on your firewall.
Right.
So I was going to ask you, because you know me, I've come around now on this. I was anti yesterday. Should we get a bamboo plant and put it right here?
Well, the dog will eat it. That's the problem. And what
as long as I don't put eye drops.
Well, right. You should have put that on Twitch. I should have been filming you, actually, on Periscope about 20 minutes before the show while you were trying to administer the eye drops to Ace's infected eye. I thought he was going to tear the whole place apart, including you.
You kept moving back.
Well, I took all my equipment, and I got the hell out of the way.
Yeah, you kept moving back and back and back.
I was almost in the parking lot.
Isn't that great? Amazing. Just
Jesus.
You couldn't. You were just like, all right, I want no part.
Yeah,
of this.
I want no parts of this. This is not what I signed up for.
No.
I'm coming here to do a radio show.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is not a veterinary clinic.
No, I agree.
Right?
And shame on me for trying to do that.
Jesus.
Well, listen, things happen. All right, I'm sorry, but my point of it all being, don't try to put drops in your dog's eye. Have you ever seen this before?
No.
Have you ever seen anybody try to administer eye drops?
Not to a dog.
Okay.
No.
Have I not told this story on the air?
I don't like administering eye drops to myself, I can tell you that.
Well, you have glasses.
Yeah.
Do you ever wear contacts?
No, I'm not good with that stuff.
Me neither.
Like, I
close
close my eye, and then the eye drop dribbles all down my cheek. Like if I'm trying to put anti-allergy stuff in my eyes, if they get all red, from allergies, The stuff ends up rolling down my cheek. It doesn't even go in my eye.
Okay. I'm the same way. I could not fathom putting something inside my eye like that.
Right.
I think it just skeeves me
I don't
out.
think
So,
I
yeah.
could go get that LASIK surgery either. That would freak me the hell out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, you got to, they have your eyeball, like your eyelid open the whole time, and they're doing their lasers and stuff. I think that would freak me out.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you were awake. I thought that maybe they put you out.
I don't think you can blink your eye.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, okay. I got what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
But if anybody has ever seen this, it is a terrible process. Terrible
Administering the eye drops to the dog.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got that. I heard Mike Sennett, right, say that Carson Wentz is 10-1 to win the MVP. And then this thing that you have, we've got Rich Hoffman coming on at 1. Before that, Bob from Crossing Broad in his weekly spot. He'll join us at 12:30 here. But, you look at a couple of things that we have. The dog threw me off.
Well, exactly. That's understandable. Yeah, the other thing was...
Oh, the bamboo plant. Should we get the bamboo plant? That's what the whole thing started with.
I'm okay with the bamboo
Should
plant.
we put the bamboo plant right here in the studio?
As long as the dog doesn't wreck it.
Well, you can...
I kind of like the look of the bamboo plant.
I think the bamboo plant would work if we did it ritualistic like the Phillies, where you bring the plant, because we're here Monday through Wednesday. We're at Dunphy Ford Thursday. The Parks property is on Friday. So I feel like you should bring the bamboo plant Monday through Wednesday and then take it with you when you leave.
So it's a traveling bamboo.
Correct.
Okay.
Just for the purposes of this show in the studio.
Okay.
Because then you won't have to worry about the damn dog eating it.
True.
Which he will.
Well, he might eat it live on the air.
Is that something that people would want to reach?
Probably.
And actually see?
Yeah, I think they'd love that.
Listen, I think that we could get away with having a bamboo plant here if you were to take it home with you.
Yeah, I'll go shopping.
Okay.
All right.
Now, this Sixers dysfunction, do you want to start there? Do you want to start with the Phillies?
That just kind of hit me like that. I read that today from Keith Pompey. We tried to get Keith on the show. He's unavailable today. But he busted out this story about the interim general manager period in between when Colangelo was let go and when the Elton Brand hiring was announced, that we thought that Brett Brown was the guy basically running the show.
Right.
Apparently.
Like the general manager.
Yes. During the draft and summer of the offseason, because it took them like 70-some-odd days until they made it official that Elton Brand was their guy.
Correct.
So apparently there was this minority owner of the team who nobody's heard of, was apparently running the basketball operations, like stepped in and was like the de facto general manager.
And nobody had any idea about this?
No, I didn't know about it.
Well, I didn't either, but I mean, nobody that was covering the team.
And then when Elton Brand is hired, this guy gets all pissed off and apparently is kicking and screaming, I think was the quote. That he, to get him out of this job, hey, we're giving this job to Elton now, and this guy did not like it. So much so that he ends up selling his shares in the team, so he's out.
Well, did we lose a good basketball mind, or did we?
Well, I don't know. He's the guy who apparently wanted to trade Mikal Bridges for Zaire Smith,
right? Who gets hurt off an infection?
Brett Brown was reluctant to agree to that, but he did.
Yes.
This is a bizarre. This organization annually just gives us these bizarre tales.
I don't even know at this point, like what is happening where you have this period of it's not even typical dysfunction.
No,
it's not like there was a coup. It's not like I get that it's fun to laugh at and point a finger at. Don't get me wrong, but I get that dysfunction in L.A. You got a couple of people that didn't know what they were doing. You put them in a position of power. It's going to turn into that.
Right.
I get that, but here. It's like they go out of their way to create new levels and new labels of how to define dysfunction. And I've never seen anything like that before.
I know.
And
for such successful guys in their other businesses.
Well, that usually
I mean?
is the case in sports, though, isn't it? Where
What's
you see people that are super successful. They own a team, and their team can't make the playoffs in, like 5 of 8 years, yet their hedge fund or their tech company or whatever it is like Fortune 8.
Well, yeah, the New Jersey Devils they own, right? They drafted number 1 in the draft because they weren't a good team last year, right?
Exactly.
I think he owns Crystal Palace which was a Premier League team.
Okay.
I don't even know if they were relegated or not. They're not very good.
No.
Okay? They're never very good.
No, but they're doing something right to be in a position to continue to own these teams.
And make money.
Right, exactly.
Yes,
well,
they're good at making money.
But I don't know. See, here's the thing. I don't know how much they're making unless you flip. I feel like it's liquid asset at that point. It's even less than that.
Well, the values of all these franchises keep going up.
But it's not worth anything right until you actually sell. Because otherwise you're holding on to I don't know if Harris is making money each year so much as Harris will make money when he sells the team.
Okay, yeah, I get that. But still, I mean, you obviously, whenever the day comes,
he's going to make some money.
He's going to make a ton of money.
Yeah, Ballmer sold that sucker or bought that sucker in L.A. for a lot of money, $2 billion.
$2 billion.
That's going to come. I understand that. But I just look at this whole thing with dysfunction, and, we always want to blame somebody, right? We always want to say, hey, who are you to blame? Who do you blame? I don't know. At this point, the fact that you had people just falling in line, Brett Brown in this Pompey piece, falling and being like, hey, maybe he didn't have a choice, right?
Right.
As you said, reluctant.
Right.
But that's where it starts to impact, is when you start to see trades and signings. And it's one thing if it's in a boardroom and they're talking about concession stand prices, or they're talking about, fan appreciation, or how many nights they're going to bring Allen Iverson back.
Right.
But when you're actually talking about trades and signings,
basketball odds.
Yeah, and you're dealing with that level of dysfunction, it's a major concern.
It really is. Now, and then we also have this whole thing that was ESPN puts out yesterday.
Woj?
Woj.
Yeah, I talked about this at length. This is a concern.
This is something that, coming from him. Now, I know I'm always sort of suspect of ESPN at times like this, knowing the free agency is just a couple of days away, and this is a slow week, and they need stuff for all their programming, to churn, so to speak, with radio and TV. Where does this report come out right now? Like, is this something that, just gets them to Thursday? You know what I mean? On all their platforms. No, I'm just saying until there's another story on Thursdays with Kemba Walker or something else, or Al Horford for all, Kyrie Irving, you name it. Or is this really grounded in a lot of truth?
Okay, I'm glad you bring this up, because I have done as much due diligence as I can on the other show. And I've brought on people from Houston. I've brought on, like, Kurt Heelan. I brought on other people that I tried to bring that are in the know, both in Houston and nationally, outside of where we are, because we have access to this. We can cover this here. And what I've gathered is this, Harry. Do you know the old, somebody in your life when you were younger gave you this piece of advice, and maybe it stuck with you, maybe it didn't, but everybody's heard this. If you will it, it will happen.
Yeah.
If you just think it, now sometimes it could be a lie.
Right.
Sometimes it could be a fantasy.
Right.
Sometimes it could be motivation.
Yeah.
But if you believe it enough, it will happen. And I think Stephen A. Smith irresponsibly put this out a while ago, and then somebody in the Houston organization said, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this a reality. Because when I've traced it back, it's really just a matter of, well, 2 or 3 major hypotheticals have to follow, right, in order for this to happen. But they are convinced Jimmy Butler is going to be a Rocket. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking around like, based off of what? Based off of what have we seen that they're going to be able to move Capella and Gordon and keep those 3 guys?
And maybe even P.J. Tucker.
Well, 2 of the 3 at most. At least. Yeah. At least they'd probably like to move all 3 of them, but at least 2 of those 3 will open up money to bring. Now you've got Butler, Paul, and Harden.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you.
3 guys who like the ball.
That team is way more dysfunctional than the Sixers.
Absolutely makes no sense to me from just a pure basketball standpoint.
And people are questioning it. We got James Coleman on Facebook asking, what's your thoughts on the Butler? I pray if we do a sign and trade with Houston, we don't get stuck with CP3. It's not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen. First off, I don't see anything that you could point to. And this, I'm sorry, you go first.
Who's behind this? State Farm? Do they want to add Jimmy Butler into the State Farm commercials with CP3 and with James
Harden? That's interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't really there's nothing wrong with Capella. He's marketable. But Eric Gordon's got a 1-year deal, so he's most likely
1 year left at $14 million, and he's 30 years old. Now, he presents a skill set that the Sixers need. I wouldn't mind Eric Gordon.
I would love to have
team.
Eric Gordon, but not in replace of Jimmy Butler.
No, I agree.
If you're talking, it's a shame that they don't want Tobias Harris. Because if they wanted Tobias
yeah.
Harris, then I think, but at that point, here's another thing. There are two big things that don't make any sense. And for everybody out there, again, we're live 97.3 ESPN, the app 97.3 ESPN app, our Scope, Facebook Live, and Twitch page, Mays and Eytan, are all going and live in effect.
I don't know
right
how you
now.
keep track of all this stuff.
Well, it's because I have this thing called Switchboard Live now
Oh,
that
yeah?
broadcasts all three at the same
Well,
time.
that's what
from the same
Bruno
time.
has.
Well,
He's got the same thing.
You know what? You keep saying to me and questioning Tony. I keep telling you Tony's a smart, competent guy.
I never questioned Tony.
Well, you know him. That's why you're allowed to. So my point of all of this is, when you look at the Sixers and you look at the Rockets and Jimmy Butler thrown in this whole thing, he would have to leave $50 million on the table. Mm-hmm. Because in the new CBA, for a sign-in trade to work in the offseason, you do the 4-year deal for $140 million.
Right, instead of $190.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Which the Sixers are the only team that can offer that.
Correct.
To Jimmy Butler.
Correct.
Right.
Now, what are we talking about here? Now, again, this is where I would like for Woj and others who are furthering this, and I'm not saying that Woj is a hack. I'm not saying that, Stephen A. is a hack. I think people know he already is, but he's there for entertainment purposes. Woj isn't. I'm not questioning.
No, Woj is a serious journalist.
I'm not
for
questioning
NBA
Woj. Listen, here's what I'm saying.
That's what scares me about this.
Right.
Is his name's on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's the thing. The obvious deal that you get with the move is you leave $50 million on the table for Jimmy Butler. And I just don't know where we've seen over this course of the season any part of Jimmy Butler being frustrated enough to say, that's why I'm out.
Yeah. Because he doesn't get along with somebody or he
Have
doesn't like
you
his
seen
role on the team. He thinks Brett Brown's a boob. Any of that stuff. Like, I don't know that any of that to be true.
Right.
Like we saw that one instance early on where he kind of scoffed at the play call late in the game. But outside of that, I haven't seen anything that would indicate he's anti-Brett Brown.
No.
Even though we have issues with Brett Brown from time to time.
No, that was that one moment early on, and that was it. And there hasn't been anything that – did you read anything from Pompey? Did you read anything from MKB? Did you read anything from Rich Hoffman, who's going to join us at 1 o'clock in the playoffs, or even after the playoffs, because that's usually when stuff comes out.
Right, after you lose.
Yeah, Jimmy couldn't stand Brett Brown's end-of-game scenarios and challenged him multiple times in the locker room.
Right.
And they wanted to keep it under wraps because of fear that he would leave or something like that.
Or saying something about Ben Simmons. If Ben Simmons would have more of his game in order, we would have gotten past Toronto, quote-unquote Jimmy Butler.
Correct.
No, none of that.
No, and here's what this is predicated off of. And this is why I call out idiots like Stephen A. and say that somebody like Woj is irresponsible. And I don't know. I guess because the guy wrote for the Inquirer that there is some love and affection for Stephen A. here in Philadelphia. I never got that, never understood that. It's the most ridiculous premise out there. But this is predicated, Harry, on one thing and one thing alone. This is my conclusion based off all the things I've seen. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Jimmy Butler's an easy target. Mm-hmm. Because in order for Jimmy Butler, in the verbiage in the Woj report, he says that Butler would essentially have to force the Sixers' hand in order to get a sign and trade saying, I'm out of here.
Right.
You might as well get something for me.
Right.
Now, he is such an easy target because of his past.
Well, he can't go. Yeah, he can't go to Houston. You can't just opt out and free agent walk to Houston. They can't do that deal.
So it would have to be something where he's forcing a team's hand. And you know what? Easy mark in Jimmy Butler because
he's
he had
problems
some
issues
exactly
here. He's
right.
had issues
exactly
there.
Right.
He's a difficult guy to coach. He's a difficult guy in the locker room. And now he sees his couple of buddies down in Houston, albeit it's where he grew up too. And this would be the perfect landing spot where Jimmy can finally be happy in the NBA.
That is it.
It's a great story.
It's an easy mark.
There should be a 30 for 30 about this.
Yeah, Woj is sitting there pushing this myth And the only person who actually believes it is Daryl Morey in some underground chamber, just dropping text to Stephen A. saying, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And Stephen A. is on air saying, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And now Woj just sitting there being interviewed on ESPN platform saying, well, it's going to happen. And I'm just like, what's happening in people's mind that they can see? Who is that third team?
I don't think he said it's going to happen. I think it was more like it's possible.
Listen, but it's all based off of Butler being a bad guy.
Right,
and we haven't seen any inkling of him being a bad guy. Even when he was challenging Brett Brown that first time, as you mentioned, Brown came out and said, no, I encourage that. I encourage the dialogue.
Right. Now, what are you talking about, the third team, for them to palm off Capella?
Correct.
Yeah, because you can't pay $16 million for a backup center.
No, sir.
And
it's a waste of Capella's talents.
Right. I mean, trust me, I'd love to have him as a guy that could come in and play 20, 25 minutes a game at the 4 or the 5 and give, these night, where they can manage Embiid's load management, where he pay, sort of like Kawhi last year. I think that would be great, but I can't afford spending $16 million for it. Can you?
No, not right now. Not with guys like Redick and Scott up in the air and Tobias Harris, if that money's allocated. That's the thing.
Well, if you get Eric Gordon, you don't need Redick, do you?
No, Redick would be out.
I mean, there's also some stories about now his name escapes me. Down in Orlando.
Oh,
played at
Vucevic.
Washington. No.
Well,
the guard. I'll find it.
Gordon. No. The
Terrence
Ross.
Yeah.
Okay.
Him.
Okay.
I like him.
I thought you meant the cat with the hair, but he's not on Orlando anymore, is he? With the great hairdo, that's just bizarre.
Oh, no, that guy, the Sixers drafted him. No. The Sixers drafted
I thought Aflalo has the hair, too.
No. Aflalo? Is he still in the league?
Alfred
Payton.
Yeah, now he's in New Orleans.
The Sixers drafted him
correct.
originally, and then they shipped into Orlando.
Yeah.
Right? And he had that sort of that rooster kind of hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Didn't Sonny Hill make that pick? Harry Mays, Eytan Shander. We have
maybe this minority owner made that pick.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Seriously, this is crazy, man. We're going to have to get thoughts. Rich
Who's
Hoffman's
in
going to join
charge?
us at 1. Bob from Crossing Broad is going to join us at 12:30. Again, live on the Scope, at Shander Show, at Harry Mays TU on Twitter, 609-403-0973. Now, are you on the new Twitter yet? As the Twitter thing?
What do you mean on the new Twitter?
Yes. You see how my Twitter? Look at my Twitter.
Yeah.
This is the new display of Twitter. You see how my home Explorer, it's not on the top anymore.
No,
it's on
I don't
the left.
have the new.
Yeah, it's coming.
Oh, good.
All right, trust
Great.
me, it's coming.
Another update.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Well, I'm telling you, this is one of the first things that got me off of Facebook is when they changed their format, that big radical change way back in the day. That and just the overt narcissism that was on it drove me away from it. Twitter will do the same thing. I got no problem. I will leave. I will walk.
No, you've got too
I've
much.
proven it before.
Listen, you're not going to walk. Just parlay those followers over to me then, so I can do something with them.
You're all about followers.
Our buddy T. Flynn at Philly.
There's more to life than followers.
And NC tweets, eardrops are a hard thing to get a dog to cooperate with also. Listen, I get it.
Well, yeah.
Brother, I'm with you. Eardrops are difficult, and I have a Weimaraner, so if you don't know what that dog looks like, Google it. The ears are gigantic, they're floppy, and they've got like tons of veins running through them, so they're really
very sensitive.
Yeah. So I can't. It's very difficult to get an eardrop into his ear to clean his ears. He doesn't do what you saw. He doesn't fight me like that. Was resisting arrest.
Yeah,
that dog.
Well, he should have been tased. The dog should have been tased.
Well, part of me can't blame the damn thing because I wouldn't want anything in my eye either.
Well, he's already got.
You?
Do you want an infection in your eye, or do you
You're
want
the one
drop?
who told me for 2 straight days. What do you give him eye drops for? What do you give him an eye drops for?
I don't know. I don't know why you have to do this when I'm here. Get all this stuff out of the way before I get here.
I don't know.
All the walks, the eye drops, the food, the whole schmear.
Man, just please. I don't know. I thought that you would be entertaining.
No.
I thought that you would break the phone out and at least film it.
Next time I will. Trust me.